Before the white sails came, the story of pre-colonial Aotearoa. Before we begin, if you love uncovering hidden dramatic moments from history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment with your thoughts. It really helps us bring you more stories like this one. Long before the first European ship touched the shores of Aotearoa, the Great Pacific Ocean was a highway of stars and wind. Beneath the southern constellations, the ancestors of the Māori, master navigators of the Polynesian world, prepared for a voyage that would change history. From the islands of Hawaiki, a name that lives in memory more than geography, families gathered on the sands. They loaded their double-hulled canoes with taro roots, kumara plants, dogs, chickens, and stone adzes. They sang chants to Tangaroa, god of the sea, asking for calm waters and safe passage. Then, with sails of woven pandanus catching the wind, they pushed their Waka out into the deep blue, following the flight of birds and the paths of stars. They were guided by the night sky, Te Ika o Te Rangi, the fish of the heavens, and by knowledge carried in memory, not maps. After weeks, perhaps months of voyage, they sighted land, snow-tipped peaks and endless green forests. This new world would come to be called Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud. When the first canoes made landfall, Takitamu, Tainui, Te Arawa, Aotea, Tokomaru, and others, they brought entire communities. Each landing place became the heart of a tribe, an iwi, whose descendants still remember those journeys in their whakapapa genealogy. The land was unlike Hawaiki, colder, richer in birds and forests, but without coconuts or breadfruit. So the settlers adapted. They learned to preserve food in the cool earth and store kumara in pits lined with fern. They wove cloaks from the soft feathers of birds, kiwi, kakapo, albatross, and hunted the giant moa, a flightless bird taller than a man. In time, as the moa vanished and forests changed, the people turned more to the sea. Fish, shellfish, seals, and whales became vital. The rhythm of the tides shaped their days. Generations passed and the Polynesian settlers became something new. The Māori, the people of this land. Communities grew into intricate kinship networks. Wānau, extended family. Hapū, sub-tribe. And iwi, tribe. Each had its own rangatira, chief, whose mana or authority came from both ancestry and wisdom. To the Māori, the world was a web of sacred relationships. The forest had its guardian, Tane Mahuta, the sea its lord, Tangaroa. Mountains were ancestors, rivers were living beings. To break the balance, to violate tapu, the sacred law, could bring disaster. Children learned the stories of creation, of Rangi the Sky Father and Papa the Earth Mother, who once lay locked in an eternal embrace until their sons pushed them apart, giving light to the world. Through these stories, every rock, tree, and stream was alive with spirit and ancestry. By the 15th century, Maori life thrived across both islands. But as populations grew, so did rivalry for fertile soil, fishing grounds, and prestige. Hilltops became fortresses, ringed with ditches, palisades, and terraces. From these heights, warriors watched the valleys below. When disputes arose, battles were fought not merely for land, but for mana, honor, reputation, the spiritual power of triumph. The taiaha, a carved fighting staff, became the symbol of the warrior's art, elegant, swift, and deadly. The mere, a short jade club of paunamu, greenstone, was both weapon and heirloom, handed down through generations. Yet even in war, there were rules. Utu, the principle of balance, demanded that every insult or loss be repaid, but also that peace, once offered, be honored. In this way, conflict could both destroy and restore harmony. Daily life in pre-colonial Aotearoa was communal. In the Kainga village, children played beside smoky cooking fires while women wove flax into mats and cloaks. Men carved canoes or shaped adzes from grey waka and obsidian. At night, stories and songs filled the air, waiata that told of love, war, and the deeds of ancestors. Knowledge passed not through writing, but through whakapapa, Karakia, chants, and Wananga, sacred schools where wisdom was memorized, not recorded. The Maori had no written alphabet, yet their oral history held centuries of memory, preserved as carefully as any library. No tribe lived in isolation. Waka carved from massive totara trees glided along rivers and coastlines, carrying goods and news. The people of Te Waiponamu, the South Island, traded precious greenstone for obsidian and food from the north. The value of punamu was immense. It was not just a mineral, but a treasure of spirit, a symbol of strength and permanence. Chiefs would gift a mere punamu as a sign of peace, or carry it into battle as a mark of authority. Through trade and kinship, the islands of Aotearoa were bound together long before Europeans charted them. Every action was watched by unseen forces. Before cutting a tree or launching a canoe, people performed karakia to ask the forest's permission. A death might be followed by tapu restrictions. Perhaps a river or a beach would be declared off-limits until balance returned. To live well was to live in harmony with both tangata, people, and atua, spirits. The Maori world was never divided between sacred and ordinary. Everything, from the spark of fire to the shadow of a mountain, had spiritual meaning. Across Aotearoa, each region developed its own identity. In the north, Ngapuhi fished the warm bays and built strong pa on the ridges. In the central plains, Waikato cultivated rich gardens beside mighty rivers. The Tuho held the mist-covered Urawera forests, guardians of the bush. In the south, Ngai Tahu spread along the coasts, their Waka gliding through icy fjords. Different dialects of Te Reo Maori evolved, yet all could still understand one another, for they were one people, linked by ancestry and ocean. Centuries later, archaeologists would unearth their traces. Shell middens along the shore, greenstone adzes buried beside chiefs, cooking pits, fish hooks and carvings of ancestors gazing out over the sea. These silent witnesses tell of a civilization both old and young, old in wisdom, young in time, flourishing in isolation at the edge of the world. By the 18th century, Maori life had reached a balance of culture, spirituality, and power. Villages thrived. Trade routes stretched far. The population may have been over 100,000. Then, in 1769, strange sails appeared on the horizon, white like the wings of seabirds. It was Captain James Cook, aboard the Endeavour. At first, his arrival was only a flicker, one more canoe on the vast ocean. Yet it marked the beginning of an age that would transform Aotearoa forever. The world of pre-colonial New Zealand, the world of PA and Punamu, of Karakia and Whakapapa, would soon meet the guns, maps, and laws of a new age. Though centuries have passed, the spirit of that world still breathes in the land. In the carvings of the meeting house, in the haka of warriors, in the language reborn in classrooms and songs, the heartbeat of the old Aotearoa endures. The ancestors who once crossed the endless Pacific still live in memory, guiding their descendants with the same stars that once led their waka to the shores of the long white cloud. Ko te wenua te wayu monga uri wakatipu. The land is the sustenance for the generations to come. The past never dies. It only waits to be told. Thanks for watching.